Hello, everybody. Steven here. I am super thrilled. I get the opportunity to share two of my closest friends with you. They are amazing revolutionaries. They are changing the world in so many amazing ways. Even before we were friends, I was huge fans and just unbelievable followers, and my whole family of their work for years before we became friends. I have the honor and privilege to introduce to you two amazing people that are bringing light to this world in so many ways. Please meet my good friends, Ty and Charlene Bollinger, the founders of Truth About Cancer. Ty and Charlene, welcome and thank you. Say hello to the My Greenfields family.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. My Greenfields family. Steven, thanks for having us on today, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Steven.
We are honored to have you here. So for those select few on the My Greenfields tribe here that are not familiar about your work, if I can just give a quick intro, and I'd love for you to go a little deeper, but you guys have founded the Truth About Cancer, which started a global revolution on almost like an awakening on the alternative. I'll use that in hashtags because it should be the normal, the alternative cancer movement. But can you give us a little backstory on your journey and how you came to really start this, kind of global revolution on, alternative cancer treatments?
Yeah, I'll let Charlene do that because the journey actually started way before the Truth About Cancer even began. So she tells the story way better than I do. So I'm going to let her share with the audience about how we got started.
He's sweet, isn't he?
Man.
Well, I can tell you from the beginning, it started really when I was a little girl and Ty was a little boy. God was preparing us for this day. And as I was a little girl, I was dreaming about Ty. I just didn't know his name yet. But I knew that I had a knight in shining armor in this world that would do great things. And that he would, first of all, rescue me and be wonderful to me. And that was such a narrow scope on the whole, of course, but I'm just a little girl dreaming. So when I grew up, I really did meet a whole lot of frogs and thought, oh, wow, that was just a fairy tale. I went to see the movie Braveheart. And when I saw that movie as a believer, I saw the picture of Christ in that character. And I also knew that God had for me in this world a Braveheart. And so literally within weeks of seeing that movie in the theaters, I met Ty. And we went out the first date. And he said, I don't mean to scare you, but I think I'm falling in love with you. This is on the first date.
This is 1996, by the way.
Yes,
95.
90,
was his face painted blue at this point? Did he have like the blue face?
Well,
I had a blue face and long locks like Mel Gibson.
Well, I can tell you, I have a very vivid picture of what he looked like. He had this denim shirt on with denim jeans. There was a cutoff, of course. He always wears cutoff shirts with the frayed ends. He was very tan, beautiful white teeth, beautiful eyes, and the biggest, huge muscles like Superman, but bigger than Superman. So I, of course, noticed him, he noticed me. So he says this. 3 nights later, I said, I love you too. And when I looked into his eyes, I really saw something I had never seen in anyone on this earth before. I saw real goodness, honesty, integrity, sincerity, everything good that you would want to see in someone and experience. So I saw those things and fell in love with him too. 9 days later, I had the ring on my finger. 6 months to the very day of our first date, we were married. We were living the dream. It was so picture perfect. And we thought that, we knew we were going to live happily ever after. And so we were very, very happily married. And he was, I just remember waking up saying, good morning, husband. And he would say, good morning, wife. And it was just so wonderful. But 6 months into this was when Ty's father, and he was like a father to me, never in law, he was my father in love. And his dear mother was my mother in love. We just were very close. And it was a beautiful thing. But he had these stomach pains. And it was so excruciating. We had to take him to the ER. We thought it was gallstones. The surgeon opens him up to do exploratory surgery to figure out what's the deal. He comes out 2 hours into the surgery and says, oh my goodness, it's cancer and it's so advanced and he's so young. That was the first experience we had with the word cancer, that it became personal. And at that time, we didn't have the information that we have today. All we knew was cancer equals death. And so we were all just filled with hopelessness, despair, fear. Of course, at the time, we were just enveloped in this bubble of grace. God was with us without a doubt.
Mm.
And in hindsight, we can see how he's used this for today. But within 25 days of that surgery, and they cut his stomach out, sewed him back up. We thought he died of cancer 25 days later. He did not. He died because they didn't perform the surgery properly. They didn't sew him up properly. He basically bled to death. So it was a surgery that killed him, not the cancer. 6 months later, we lost Ty's father's father. 6 months later, his father's brother, in there, his cousin Glenn, all with cancer. And I don't say to cancer because there was a lot of conventional cancer treatments that contributed to this, the demise of our family members. Then fast forward a few years, we lost his mother's mother, precious Grandma Helen. We lost his mother's father, Grandpa D.E. And then finally in 2004, the straw that broke the camel's back. And we had done a lot of research up to this time, but we lost his mother. And her life was prolonged due to alternative treatments and, like you say, advanced treatments that she was doing. But she really didn't have a lot of ability to overcome the initial surgery. They also cut her stomach out. Then she ended up with a colostomy bag. They had her on a lot of drugs that we believe caused a massive stroke. And a lot of these conventional treatments was a result of her exiting this world. Thankfully, we'll see her again. But we were plundered. We were plundered. And we knew that we had to get the truth about cancer into the world. So from 2004 to 2006, we wrote a book called Cancer Step Outside the Box. We self-published it. We put it out there with the intention to save lives through just giving them the information that was not available to us. And Ty is an excellent researcher. He's an excellent writer. And our heart was just to save lives. If people get this information before they get the diagnosis, they're in great shape knowing their options. We didn't know. That was not available to us. So we reached hundreds of thousands of people with that book and with the work we were doing from 2006 and then 2014 was when, and I believe that God really laid a strong foundation of integrity. People know we love them, we care about them, and we're working very hard to help them not to have to die or lose family members just simply for a lack of knowledge. And so in 2014, when we released the films, we already had a strong following. We were on Facebook under Cancer Truth, and we had a vibrant community there. And so that started this, that was the spark that really penetrated the earth. And it was our dream, a dream come true, that we could do these films and people were jumping on board and watching, and then coming to us saying, it's because of your first film, or it's because of your book, or whatever it is, that I was sent home to die, but I watched, I did what you said, and I'm here today, alive and cancer-free. And so to save lives, I believe it, for me and for Ty, I know, is just the most rewarding work that we could be doing. And as long as God gives us breath, we're going to keep doing this.
It's awesome. It's so awesome. You guys have done a lot of traveling, right? So, to see like the countries, the doctors, give me a little synopsis on like, what have you seen? Where have you gone? Countries, doctors, like where have you been, man? Like I know, and you guys have kind of, this isn't like some half-baked docu-series. You guys poured your life and traveled, and kind of give us a little, the sneak peek into the journey.
Sure, Steve. For the Global Quest, which is the third documentary that we produced, the first two, the Quest for the Cures Continues, was United States only. With the Global Quest, we went global. So it wasn't just U.S. We went to Canada, Mexico, and then we traveled to Europe. We hit United Kingdom, Netherlands, Germany. We also interviewed a doctor from Spain, but he flew to UK for us. We also had a team that went down to Australia. So we had about 8 or 10 countries, I guess that is, for the Global Quest. We had 130 plus interviews with doctors and researchers and scientists and patients. So it's a very comprehensive overview of what people are doing globally. And so that's what people can look forward to when they watch the Global Quest relaunch. It's here in October, beginning the 9th, is those travels. But we've also recently traveled this summer. We went to Asia. And so we hit Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and then we interviewed some doctors from India that actually flew to Bangkok. So we had basically 7 more countries represented this last July that we got the interviews for, and that'll be coming out next year in April. Eastern Medicine edition. We'll interview doctors from Asia. So we've been all over the place in just an effort to get a comprehensive overview of what people are doing outside of the United States, because we have this very America-centric view here, to where we feel like if it's not happening here, that it's not happening at all. But the reality is that doctors all over the world are treating cancer very effectively, with way more effectively than we're treating cancer here. So we just wanted to give people an opportunity to experience that and to learn from our travels.
That's incredible. Biggest takeaway from even the latest trip to Asia, like any like, oh my goodness, awakenings you haven't heard before? Because I know you've heard a lot. Anything that jumps out at you?
Oh yeah, sure. I think the biggest takeaway from Asia was the way that the Asian doctors, they all integrate the mind, body, spirit into the healing. It's not just physical. And so I think here in the West, we see a tumor, we want to shrink a tumor, we want to cut out a tumor, and then if your tumor's gone, you're cured. And then in the East, they don't look at it that way. They look at it as that's a symptom that there's something wrong in your body. So we want to not just get rid of the tumors, we want to get rid of the cause for the tumors. And we look at what might have caused you to get cancer to start with. And a lot of times that's emotional as well as physical. It's certainly dietary and toxic involved, environmental toxicity, overburdened immune systems and so forth. That's universal. But the Eastern doctors really look at the way that your beliefs, your mind, your emotional state of being impacts the cancer. And so I think that's a big takeaway from Asia for us.
Yeah, Ty, when he came home from Asia, the one thing, there were of course a lot of things, but I think that one element was the most surprising to him, because that we don't cover here in American Western medicine the mind aspect of disease. And we know that fear, that anger, those kinds of things really suppress the immune system. We've seen that. There are studies that show that. Laughter, when the Bible says a merry heart is good medicine, laughter really it boosts the immune system. There's a physical connection to the mind. But across the board, Ty came home and said every single one of those doctors said with each case of cancer, there is a root in the mind that has connected itself to the body and been a contributing factor to the cancer developing and growing within the body. And so they do treat the mind, whether it's fear. And we know there's a lot of fear with doctors in Western medicine who they don't know how to treat cancer outside of the big three. And so they're not confident in that protocol, and that fear is then penetrated into the patient. There's no hope there. And so all the doctor typically does when it comes to the cancer patient here, the conventional doctor, is say, well, if you don't do this, you're going to die. Or if you don't do this treatment, you're not going to have these extra 2 months. And that really does penetrate the heart and mind with fear, which then can ultimately take their life. So fear and anger, roots of bitterness, unforgiving spirits, all those things. And we see in the Bible how David, when he was unrepentant of his sin with Bathsheba, having Uriah killed, and then not even repenting, and then the story of the little lamb and all those things that brought him into that reality that he was living unrepentant. And in the beautiful Psalm 51, when he writes it out for us to see what he was dealing with, his bones were rotting within him. There is a physical element of all of these different things that we're going through. And so if we can work through a lot of those different issues that we're dealing with in the mind, it really will have a positive effect on the body. So I think that was one of the biggest things that Ty came home with, the mind, the feelings, and the body connection that is disconnected here. That's
so powerful. The holistic approach, right? So it's treating the whole body. And it's awesome. You mentioned one thing that is kind of a big passion of mine. Lots of the people that you've interviewed, I have the honor of calling friends. Some of the same doctors that you've interviewed, I've become really good friends with, and I consider like family over the years. Clearly, I don't have their calling. I don't have the calling to, treat people in that, once they are, but, I have been a very passionate kind of eco entrepreneur. And you mentioned a few minutes ago, environmental or eco toxicity. And that's kind of been my calling. So that's where I've, been plowing that edge of the field now for many years. Not only in my own home, when my son got, a head to toe rash caused by a laundry detergent, and why I got involved in, and built my Greenfields is to try and help people detoxify their homes. And we're just like taking, one corner of their home, like the laundry room, and soon to be other areas of their home, because there's the laws. When we talk about like the cancer establishment, that's a whole conversation itself. But then, my area is environmental toxicity, like home toxicity, chemicals that are in homes. I mean, the laws and that whole, it's scary on, what's allowed to be put in people's homes. So if you can just share, because that's, our community is very vocal on having non-toxic products and having, clean foods and really clean, chemicals in your home. Can you guys speak to that side of your experience and your travels and the doctors or whatever around, kind of drill down in environmental toxicity, household chemicals, and how important that is for people to not have in their homes?
Yeah, I know Charlene has some input on that, but I want to add something real quick. When we were I think it was in Singapore on this trip. And by the way, our good friend and your good friend, Dr. Tony, was with us in Asia. So
Yep.
He was one of the reasons that we had so many connections with doctors in Asia is because of Tony. It wouldn't have happened without him. So he was really awesome. But when we were in Singapore, I think it was one of the last interviews. Say what, Stephen?
I said he's an amazing man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he definitely is, man. He definitely is an amazing, great brother. But when we were in Singapore, about to leave, I think it was the last interview in Singapore, we talked to one of the doctors there, that his whole focus on cancer treatment and prevention is giving people clean, safe, eco-friendly places to live. We were going from Singapore to Malaysia, if I remember correct, and outside of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, they've got the first development, and I think it was 2,000 homes that they've built that are environmental, eco-friendly, no pesticides used in the yards, no Wi-Fi. They've got Wi-Fi protection for the cell phone towers that might be close. No chemicals that are carcinogenic. It's like the first attempt on a massive scale to build a clean home in every aspect, not just from the pesticide perspective or the cleaner perspective, but from the EMF perspective. And they have on-site grocery stores where you can shop to get the clean organic food. It's like a completely clean development. I've never heard of anything like that. So that was something that was really fascinating. And it's a reminder to me, I need to get back in touch with that doctor to see what's the next step. But it's very important that your homes be clean. I'll let Charlene kind of address that in detail, but I'd never seen a massive development to that scale ever before.
That is incredible.
Well, I would like to add to that. That's very interesting to me, as he's talking about this clean environment and the way that these patients are able to, or people are able to live in a clean environment. I'm thinking Garden of Eden. I mean, everything was created perfectly, beautifully. It was non-toxic from the beginning. It was, God created it and he said, this is good. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be restored in heaven. Heaven and earth will pass away. They'll be recreated perfectly, and there won't be any toxins there. That's the way God created it. It's only when we come in, we genetically modify our food, we add the chemicals to our beauty products or our house cleaners, and then the materials that are used to build houses are filled and saturated with chemicals to keep the bugs away or whatever. And then in our yards, we're spraying with chemicals to kill the cancer fighting herbs, dandelions and plantain and all these other things with chemicals that cause cancer. So there's such a massive disconnect. And when you look at the top level, realizing everything really is spiritual, the systems that are put in place there's spiritual elements in place. So it's not just an accident that our food chain is permeated with poisons and toxins and death waiting in packages. It's when you do enough of the research, it's as if you're looking at the devil himself at the top levels. Now, that's not to say that the doctors get into this profession because they're noble. They want to save lives. They want to be healers. They're not learning like these doctors Ty is talking about in Asia. The Asian doctors, literally was one that said, I go to thetruthaboutcancer.com just to get the most cutting edge protocols so I can implement those new things for my patients. And that is such a tremendous blessing to us, because that's our goal, is to help people around the world and doctors who are treating these people. But within our own home, it was a transition from the beginning of our research, like I think it is with anyone out there. We were realizing that our food that we were eating, that we were feeding our children, was not clean. We were feeding them genetically modified organisms. We were feeding them pesticides. So when we found that out, the very first thing that we cleaned up was our food. We went to a local farmer, got raw goat's milk and meats that were clean, that were grass-fed, and the hens, we ended up actually with our own hens for a long time. We fed them non-GMO feed, and also they got our scraps. They're pigs with wings. So we got the benefit of that. But within our home, the dish detergent is organic. The soap we use on our bodies, the shampoo is all organic. We realize there are parabens in there and all kinds of hormone disruptors, cancer-causing chemicals. There's so many, and just everything. It could be overwhelming. So what we try to do is just simplify everything and make it really easy to digest. That's the beauty of the docu-series that we're able to do now and put out for free for the whole entire world to watch and learn these truths in just a few episodes, a few days. It's like getting a college degree, because this information took us years to get and compile in such an easy to understand format, so that anybody can sit, from the children, and we have children that are fans and really excited sharing with their friends, to the average person, no matter the age. Anybody can understand it and make revolutionary changes within their own homes, their own lives, and share it with their friends and family. Our dreams about helping people to learn the truth really are being realized. And we're so grateful, because we know it's a gift from God. Every good and every perfect gift is a gift from above. And we believe that the docu-series and all that we do, really, it comes from heaven.
Charlene, this is like just music to my heart right now. What you guys are talking about is just unbelievable. I want to honor your time, so I want to kind of circle the runway and start landing the plane here. Imagine for a second, I think the statistics are staggering on the number of people that are either overcoming cancer. I don't say have cancer, I believe, because it can be overcome. People that are overcoming cancer right now, or someone that has a loved one or a friend that is overcoming cancer. The numbers are astronomical. So there's a really good chance that someone listening to us right now is either overcoming or knows somebody that is. With that said, if you say, man, what would be the 3 things or 2 things, whatever's on your heart, what they need to know right now at this stage of their life, what would it be?
You know what? I'll pick 2, you pick 2. What do you say?
Yeah.
You start, I'll finish.
Okay. I think the number one thing that people need to understand, if they're diagnosed with cancer or they're battling whatever stage they're in, especially at the beginning stage, when they're just newly diagnosed, the number one thing that they need to do is to realize there's no rush to get into any treatment or make any decisions within the next few minutes or even the next few days. Cancer takes a long time to grow. They have time. They can wade through all of the information, doing so while praying for wisdom. God promises, James 1:5, wisdom to those who ask. He is an all-wise God, and he knows everything, and he gives wisdom liberally. So the very first thing is to wait, to research, and pray. And as they research, and again, the docu-series we've done is filled with information that they will want to know. And once they get through that information and research, they will have a better understanding of their options and then be able to choose what works best for their own body, for their own lives, for their own family. And within that scope of researching, don't allow anyone to bully them. They have to realize that these doctors work for us. We don't work for them. We have the capacity to fire doctors that are not willing to work with us. And we also have the capacity to research and find a doctor who will respect them and honor who they are and their wishes and help them to find those protocols and implement them. So that's the first part that they really have to, I believe, have to have an understanding of. Wait, research, pray, and find a doctor that will honor them. Number two, they need to clean up what they're putting into their body, detoxify the things that need to go away from their body, that have caused cancer, accumulated in their body. So it's a twofold process. Put into the body what's going to nourish it and target cancer cells and kill it, and detoxify the things that have contributed to it. And that includes the mind. So they have to detoxify the mind and nourish the mind, detoxify the body and nourish the body. And Ty can fill in the holes that I left there because there's a lot more there. But those are the two things that I think are very crucial.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the not rushing into treatment is key. And then, looking at, I'll kind of expand on what she said with the nutrition and detoxification. Cancer typically arises because you're deficient in nutrition and you're overly toxic. That's just a general rule. It's not always the case, but most of the time it is. And so in light of that fact, we need to make sure that we get clean nutrition in to fuel our body, and we get rid of the stuff that's hampering our immune system from working properly. It seems pretty basic, but if we just follow that basic advice, then, we could kind of turn around our health. God's made our bodies. Dr. Ed Group, a good friend of ours, says that the body has a self-healing mechanism built in. And I like that term. We have self-healing mechanisms. The problem is those self-healing mechanisms don't work if they're not fueled properly, or if there are toxins that are getting in the way from them working. And so it seems basic, but if we just do like Dr. Mercola said in the Global Quest, eat real food, right? Non-GMO organic food, as close to nature as possible. Whatever that looks like for you might be different than for us. We are agnostic when it comes to what diet you should be on. We don't get into any camp as far as you should eat. You should be ketogenic, or you should be vegan, or you should be vegetarian, or you should be paleo. That's that's your decision. And those tend to divide us instead of we should be united on the fact that we all agree we should eat real food. So eat real food, nourish your body, detoxify, and you can do that in a lot of ways. Exercising and sweating should definitely be big parts of any kind of a cancer prevention or treatment protocol. You've got to get rid of the toxins, and one of the best ways that we can do that is to sweat. And unfortunately, Stephen, in today's society where everything is easy peasy, we complain if we have to sweat. We complain if the air conditioning's not working in the car and we have to drive 10 minutes without AC and we start sweating. That's actually good for you. Maybe you should go sit in a hot car for 15 minutes. Yeah. If you don't have a sauna, go sit in a hot car and make yourself sweat. It's actually healthy, and it helps us to detoxify. So I think that those are they seem basic, but they're big pieces of the puzzle to being healthy, preventing cancer, and even treating cancer is nutrition and detoxification, sweating, exercising. My favorite exercise, I used to be a bodybuilder. I'm not anymore, you can tell that, but I still like to lift weights.
Don't let him fool you. He has still got those big muscles underneath his shirt. I'm going to tell you that right now.
My biggest muscle now, my belly. But
it's your heart, brother. That's your biggest.
But I still like them. But thanks, brother.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is not to lift weights if you want to be healthy. And it's not bad to exercise your muscles, do push-ups, sit-ups, jog in place, whatever. But jumping up and down on a trampoline or a mini trampoline, which we call a rebounder, is actually the best way to get your lymphatic system to move and to detoxify your body. That's the best exercise you can do every day. And it's easy. Even the elderly people can do that. They even make rebounders now with handles that you can hold on to. If you're 85 years old and you can't do it, grab on it and jump up and down. It's the best exercise for stimulating the lymphatic system, because without doing that, your lymph doesn't move. It doesn't have a pump like your heart to pump the blood. The lymph is stagnant unless you move. So very essential. And I think, there's always two sides of the coin with technology. I love technology, man. I love it. It allows me and Charlene and you to do this 3-way conference call and record it and talk to the world. And it allows us to do our business the way that we do it. Yep. It's awesome. But on the flip side of the coin, it's also made people very inactive, exposed to a lot of radiation and a lot of the things that we have to try to counteract. And so we just need to be cognizant in today's easy peasy society that we move and we sweat, because it's easy. 100 years ago, if you were going to make a living and eat, you had to go work physically somewhere. Now you don't. You can sit there. I mean, I've heard of things. We don't let our kids play video games because we think they're a waste of time. But I've heard of video game marathons where the people literally sit and they have the controllers in their hands and they've got the fridge next to them, and they literally play for weeks on end without going anywhere. It's insane. So you got to make an effort to be physically active and sweat.
That's awesome. There was like, you said 2 each. You guys just dropped like 40 amazing truth bombs in like 4 minutes. That was unbelievable. Man, there was so much practical.
Okay, cool.
So thank you for that. Wow. I mean, I learned a lot just listening to that soliloquy. That was banging good. So here we go. The Global Quest. Cool. It was an unbelievable series. I am thrilled I get to share it with our community. I mean, I don't even know how many, the last time it was aired, how many I purchased and gave to so many friends and family members. I said, you need to know this. Like, if you need to know this. And then from there, if you have to make a decision, and at least you're equipped with information so you can make a good decision, right? Whichever one's best for you. So talk about, like, give us the details, what people can expect from the series. We know why they should listen to it. But give us the details on, when the series is going live and how they can participate.
Okay, I'll let Charlene start that and then I'll finish it because I have somebody knocking on the side door here. She's going to get it. I'll be right back.
Welcome to our real world. Yeah. October 9th is the first episode. We're pretty excited. So we're gearing up to that. And there will be details on the page on how you can get it. You can just get at the back end after you see it, if you want to purchase it, to own it, to share it like you did. And thank you, by the way. Thank you for supporting us. I can say that we could not continue this important work if we didn't have awesome people like you supporting us. So thank you for this interview. Wow. Thank you for investing in us, for purchasing and sharing it with your friends. And I pray that God would increase each one of those purchases that you have shared in those people's lives on throughout their spheres of influence, their friends and family, that would just generate such a powerhouse of life. So that's what people can do when they watch it. They can support us in this work because it costs a lot of money to travel around. It costs a lot of money to have a team that helps us produce these documentaries. And as people jump on board and choose to own it, purchase it, and then like you sharing it, that's our dream, to get it into the hands of as many people as they can. So as they watch it and they feel like that they want to own it, they can. And the details will be on that page. But I encourage everyone to, as they're watching it and it's being aired, they get the link, whether they sign up. I encourage everyone to sign up on our website to get the updates, to get their free airings, share those free airings through their email with their friends, get on Facebook. We've got a pretty big following on Facebook, The Truth About Cancer. We've got over 1 million awesome people in our community there. We encourage everybody, if they don't follow us, please get on the Facebook train with The Truth About Cancer and just share far and wide with everyone, because a lot of their friends don't know yet the truth about cancer. A lot of their friends are battling it. They've got family members that are battling it. So that's one way that we've been able to really reach people for life. We can't do it just Ty and Charlene. We cannot do it. We need you, and we need all of your followers and all of their friends and families to continue to share so that we can penetrate the world with these amazing and beautiful life-saving truths, things we didn't have when we lost our 7 family members. But we don't want those people, your followers, to lose one after the other just because they don't know. We want them to know, and we just appreciate you having us on and sharing this with your followers. We really do.
Yeah, and I'll just follow that up with, I don't really know what she just said because I was talking to the guy outside, but nuts and bolts is, here's the deal. It's 9 episodes, 9 countries, 9 days, free, absolutely free. People spend an average of 8 hours a day on their handheld devices. And I encourage you to take a couple of those hours and watch this information that we have shared absolutely free that could save your life or could save the life of a loved one. That's the bottom line. Encourage your friends and family to take the time to watch it. People say, I don't have time. That's absurd in today's society to say, I don't have time. Our lives are so cush. I mean, I see people saying, I don't have time, and then they're sitting there texting for 3 hours. Yeah, you have time. You just choose to spend it wasting time. But
right.
Why don't you choose to spend it in a beneficial way where you're educating yourself and your family? So have time. Don't let anybody tell you they don't have time. Yes, you do. Watch the series. It's free, and it can save your life. That's our encouragement to the people that are watching, is to sign up, watch it for free.
So awesome. Ty and Charlene Bollinger, dear friends, I love you guys so much. You are such an amazing inspiration to me. You know, thank you for being the wind under so many wings. Here's the call to action, guys. Sign up right now. There's somewhere on this page, somewhere on this post, wherever it is posted, there's a link. Click that link right now. Sign up to watch this docu-series. It's somewhere it's somewhere like here or there or somewhere, right? Click the link right now. Sign up to watch this absolutely life-giving, vital series for free. I'm going to come right out and say you need to not only purchase the series for yourself, but purchase it for anyone that you believe needs this information. But before that, hit the share button. Share this message, tag people on this post on social media that need to know the truth about cancer, that cancer is not a death sentence. There is a way, right? There is a way. Our body was designed to do it. We fight it all day long, and we can do so now. And it first starts with information. So Ty, Charlene, thank you again for being my friends. I honor you in the work and the light that's in you. Please, again, hit the share button and tell the world about their amazing work. Thank you guys for spending the time with me today. Have a great day.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank
God bless
you so
you, brother.
much.
Pleasure.